Welcome to the last general session for this conference. It's Leadership in the Workplace by Dupe Akinsiun. Dupe is a certified leadership coach and trainer. She's a member of the John C. Maxwell team, and she's a certified behavioral consultant and trainer. You're welcome, Dupe.
So I came ready, all right? So I'm going to be talking about leadership in the workplace. And this is something that is very dear to my heart, not just because I'm a member of the John Maxwell team, but because leadership is everything, right? Leadership is everything. There is only so much we can talk about with regards to being successful in life. If leadership is out of it, then everything is not going to work. Sincerely, and this is not me trying to hype my content, but you will understand what I mean when we get into the presentation. So yes, my title is Leadership in the Workplace. And if I know I'm talking to the leaders of tomorrow, we've been told we are leaders of tomorrow. So somebody said it's either they lie to us or tomorrow has not come. Whatever it is, we just need to be ready, when the time comes, right? For the tomorrow, our leaders are trying to prepare for us. But now, someone said that the best time to prepare for war is in the time of peace. So I think, or I believe that now is the right time for us to talk about leadership. But then what does leadership mean? So if you can see my screen, you will see that, John Maxwell has described leadership as influence, nothing more, nothing less. He went on to say that, titles don't mean a thing, except, of course, you're adding value. Leadership is about adding value. But beyond this definition, I know he's my mentor, he's someone I respect so much, but I do understand that sometimes, in this time and age where, influence even has many meanings now to many people, it's very crucial for us to really, really understand what leadership is, even what does influence mean exactly, all right? So he says leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Titles don't have much value when it comes to leading. True leadership cannot be awarded, appointed, or assigned. It only comes from influence. And that cannot be mandated. You must earn it, okay? So when we talk about leadership in the workplace, we are asking ourselves, how do we earn influence in the workplace? So moving on, I want to tell you what leadership means to me. Leadership is service. It's not a position, okay? Miles Monroe of blessed memory says, the shortest distance to leadership is service. So if you're really looking or desiring to lead in the workplace, the shortest distance, the quickest thing you can do is to start to serve. Because leadership is not just, your ability to influence people, but the ability for you to forget yourself in advancement of others. Leadership is about service. Leadership is not carrying a title. Leadership is not about becoming an entrepreneur. Leadership is not about being an inventor. Leadership is about serving people. It's about forgetting yourself and advancing the cause of others. So when you talk about leadership in the workplace, you are actually asking, how do I serve my organization in a way that will advance the strategy of my organization, right? So you're not asking about how do I become the CEO. You're not asking about how do I become the head of my department in a short time. What you're really asking for, if you're talking about leadership, is how do I serve the objectives of my organization? And that is what leadership is about. So, what are some of the other things, people have said about leading or leadership? It says true leadership is found in giving yourself in service to others, not in coaxing or inducing others to serve you. Someone else said, leadership is about being of service to others, not being served by people that choose to be a mentor and not a boss, right? So when I talk about influence, if you look at the dictionary, influence talks about your ability to have an effect on someone. So if John Maxwell says leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less, what he's simply saying that leadership is your ability as an individual to have an impact on something, on someone. Okay, so if we bring it again into the context of the organization, right, or the workplace or the marketplace, if you're an entrepreneur, what we are saying is leadership is going to be your ability to make an impact in that workplace. Now, impact is, how you're able to exert yourself in a way that has a desired impact. We're going to go into what exactly do we mean by impact, okay? So influence is just about your ability to have an impact on someone or something. So what kind of impact can we possibly have, okay? So impact can be that, you're influencing policies, you're influencing decisions, you're influencing your organizational strategy, you are influencing processes, you are influencing people. Because when we talk about what makes up an organization, there is the strategy, okay? Strategy talks about, of course, so let me not talk about strategy first. There is the organizational goals. What exactly is the vision of this organization? So if you go on a company's website today, you're preparing for an interview, and then all those things will cram for interviews where you're saying, oh yeah, ask me this question now. What is their mission? What is 5 core values? What's the vision? And we cram all of those things, right? We just need to be clear. This is where the organization is going. And that tells you the organizational focus. But strategy is the blueprint that the organization has put in place to achieve that vision, to get to that desired destination. So when we talk about strategy, strategy has 3 pillars supporting it: the people, the policies, and the processes, all right? Of course, there are other little things, but these are the 3 main pillars. So when we talk about your ability to influence within the workplace, we're talking about your ability to have an impact on the people in the organization that you're working with, or maybe the customers you're serving, or the stakeholders that your organization is having partnership or some form of relationship with, right? Ability to have an impact on the policies. How do you get into an organization and see that, some of our policies need to change? Okay, so guys, we had these policies many years ago. Now, in the current reality of the market in which we play, the industry we're playing, the kind of goals we want to achieve, in the face of all the global pandemic going on, are these policies still relevant? These are conversations that you want to have in a way to have an impact that can influence those policies, okay? Of course, you can also influence processes. So I saw the guy who spoke earlier, I think it's Blaze, he was talking about AI, and the fact that AI has not come to replace your job, but rather to enhance your processes. So this is you getting into the workplace with your AI skills and looking at how more efficiently, as a team, as an individual, those processes can be further developed. So this is what influence is. Influence is not title. Influence is not when you give your card out and then people are hailing you, wow, 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 you are a team lead, wow, you've become a manager in 3 years. No, it's about influence. It's about impact. And guess what? It's not, you can lead from bottom upwards. You don't need to wait to get to the top to make a difference. You can make a difference right where you are at, okay? So I'm talking about 2 dimensions of leadership, because I said something earlier that leadership is the ability for you for a moment to forget yourself and think about others, right? When people think so much about themselves and forget others, that's when they become egocentric. Leadership does not serve anybody's ego. Leadership is about you finding fulfillment in empowering others. And I put something to the left-hand side, if you can still see my screen. I say, you cannot lead others well if you have not succeeded in leading yourself. People these days, have you observed? They are tired of theories, right? People want stories. People want real, authentic, leadership. People want the real deal. People don't want you to come and tell us all those textbooks. People want to see you and be able to emulate your lifestyle, right? So you need to understand that there are 2 dimensions to leadership. It first begins with you and then leading others. What you find out that some people are running after is the ability to control people, the ability to give people orders so that they are doing their bidding. That's not leadership. That's controlling. That can even in some cases be manipulation. Let me tell you what leadership is not. Leadership is not manipulation. Leadership is not coercion. Leadership is not force. Leadership is not all of those things. Leadership is people willingly submitting to your own ideology, or people, choosing to align with your own way of thinking because of an impact you've had in their lives. And that's what leadership is about. So think of leadership from 2 angles. Am I finding fulfillment as I'm empowering others? Okay. So if you cannot lead yourself, you cannot successfully lead other people. Now, I don't know if you're there and you can, look at these two images. I don't know if you know anybody. Can you spot the difference? Can you see any of these guys and recognize them? Okay, so I'm going to just tell you so that we save some time. To my left-hand side, we have a young man we call, well, is he young? No, he's old and he's dead now, okay? So he's Martin Luther King, but in this picture, he looks young, right? Now, this is Martin Luther King on one side, and this to my right-hand side, we have Malcolm X. Now, who can spot the difference? What exactly, put these two guys together? Now, if you go down history, you will realize that these guys lived around the same dispensation. They existed around the same time. So we had Martin Luther King and Malcolm X alive at the same time in the United States of America. Now, another thing they had in common is the fact that they are Black. Another thing they had in common is the fact that they were both tired of the racism in America, okay? And so these two guys were fighting for the freedom or equality for the Black Americans. Now, what differentiated one from the other? Now, if you go to the United States now, one of the public holidays or one of the days they recognize is the Martin Luther King Day. They call it the MLK. Now, because in their mind, Martin Luther King fought for them, but guess what? Malcolm also fought for them. So what was the difference? It was in their style. Now, I'm here to tell you that leadership actually, doesn't have a character on its own, just like money. Money has no character. Money has no, you can't say money is good or money is bad, okay? So the same way you can't say leadership is good or leadership is bad, or influence is good, influence is bad. The thing is, influence or leadership takes on the character of the person exerting it, right? So if you look at a Malcolm X and a Martin Luther King, what differentiated these two guys are their core values. What are their drivers? Now, Martin Luther King said, we're going to fight for our equality, but we're going to do it in a peaceful way. But Malcolm X was a man of force. Now, at the end of the day, America or Black Americans, even though they are still fighting inequality or racism till today, but they're not where they used to be, okay? And to an extent, if they're going to give credit to people who fought for their equality, they will first come or recognize Martin Luther King. The question is why? This other guy fought. So I'm talking, when we talk about influence, it's easy for us to say influence. I want to be influential. There are people that, they are very, very bad people that are influential. Okay, so Idi Amin, go and ask. Idi Amin, he had influence. If you want to, what's the name of this guy what's his name? Adolf Hitler had influence. Adolf Hitler had influence. People killed themselves for Adolf Hitler. But is that the kind of leadership we're talking about? Is that the kind of influence we're talking about? Not necessarily. So the question is, what kind of leadership do you want to wield in the workplace? And that will go down to the core values, what it tells on you. And that's why leadership first begins with you than with anyone else. It's not about you, leading other people. It's about you first leading yourself. So I call this slide the 3D workplace impact. If you look at the workplace, right, there are 3 dimensions to it, okay? The first thing that's going to happen when you join an organization, if you currently work with an organization, is the fact that you belong to a team, okay? So you first belong to a team, and then your team is a subset of the bigger organization. Now, your organization is a part of a society, okay? So whatever impact you have in your team ultimately has a direct impact on the organization, and then it has a potential impact on the society. So if you're thinking or looking at workplace impact, the first place you need to ask yourself is, what kind of impact am I making in my team? I heard the story of a young lady who joined a team, and then it's as if the moment she joined, problems started. How do you add value to a team? What exactly are you looking to be remembered for within your team? What impact? You showed up on that team. What do you want them to remember you for? Are you one of the people adding, to the results? Are you a multiplier? Or are you the one subtracting from the efforts of the team? Or you are the one dividing the team? So you can choose to be an adder, or a multiplier. And that will speak to the impact. But guess what? You cannot have real impact if you don't know what your team is contributing to the bigger picture. So real impact comes from strategic intelligence. You shouldn't be in a team that you do not understand the strategy. I work in an HR function, for instance, and I mean, my role sits within the HR function of an organization. I know what my role is contributing to the HR strategy. So my work every week is to ensure that this year's strategic objectives are met. That is impact in the workplace. Now, before we came up with the HR strategy, we did a review of the overall company strategy, and that's where the organizational strategy comes in. So you shouldn't be in an organization whose vision you're not even familiar with. Some people work for organizations, and until they recite, that vision, it's only that vision they can recite, but the substance or the spirit of it is very far from them. You cannot make an impact when you are ignorant. So ignorance and impact do not go together at all. Gain knowledge, strategic knowledge. Find out what is the strategic goal. Now, between January and now, a lot has happened. A lot of changes have happened. The question is, excuse me. The question is, what changes have happened to the strategy of your organization? How has that impact on the direction of your team? What changes have you made to yourself to add value to that team? And of course, when you do all of these things, you're ultimately contributing to the bigger picture. So moving away from here, I want us to quickly look at these pictures. What comes to mind? What comes to mind?
Leaders. You can see Mandela, Awolowo, Obama. You see leaders.
Okay.
Mother Teresa.
Awesome. So pick a character on this slide and talk about, so what do you know about one character? So if you look at Mandela, if you want to zone in on Mandela, what comes to mind? If you want to zone in on Obama, what comes to mind? Malala, Mother Teresa, Awolowo, Mahatma Gandhi. They made an impact. They are all leaders, change makers. Nelson Mandela went to a school without shoes. But then he was a young lawyer who was angry at the fact that they were divided. How come in our own land, the white people were more superior than the blacks in our own land, right? And he decided to make a difference. Obama's vision decided to be the first African Black American president in the history of the United States. Awolowo maybe sought for, democracy, or fought for democracy, or in Nigeria where, things are done decently or in a certain way. Of course, Martin Luther King was fighting for equality. Now you would discover that these people had different messages. Malala is a young girl. She recently graduated from Oxford University, right? She wanted, she wanted every girl in Pakistan to have a right to education. Okay, so looking at all these people, they made an impact one way or the other in their respective spaces. The question is, what offices did they work for? What organizations did they work for? Oftentimes people are waiting, don't worry. When I get into that company, they will know somebody has come. I'm going to make an impact. Question is, what are you doing where you are at? What are you doing at home? No, don't worry. I'm just waiting for the right time. When I have a lot of ideas, but the question is, Oga, calm down. What are you doing in your immediate environment? These guys did not wait for positions. They did not, because it's not the position that makes or gives the dream. The dream, they had a dream. And that's the exact word of Martin Luther King, for instance. I have a dream. And so you see on my next slide, I put here, I say, it all begins with a vision. Leadership is about having a sense of where people should go and taking them there. If you don't have a vision, people have no business following you. People have no business listening to you. So when you talk about leadership in the workplace, the question is, based on where you see that the company is going, what vision do you have? What dreams do you have that you want to achieve for your organization? And guess what? Before you even think of your organization, you need to ask yourself, what vision do I have for my life? When all is said and done, what do I want to be remembered for? Now, if you can have this honest conversation with yourself, you will be able to drill down to identify those things, your key drivers as a person, your personal drivers, where it is not about how much somebody will pay you in salary before you are motivated to do good. It will not be about the bonus or the rewards that will come. It will just be the life that you want to live. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So talking about vision, I remember, and Fumi can bear witness to this, we finished school together, right? And one of the tasks our lecturers gave us before he signed us out of the department was to come up with a 5-year plan. I don't know if Fumi remembers. And guess what? On that day, Fumi, you remember, right, Credo? I finished with a CGPA of 2.7 out of 5. So I like to put out of 5, so you won't think my case is so pathetic, okay? 2.7. Fumi did better than I did, so no worries. Now, I finished with a CGPA of 2.7, and I didn't think the future held much for me. Of course, I was a believer, and I'm still a believer, but I couldn't really tangibly explain what the future was going to look like because of, all of this. And then this lecturer, for whatever reason, we used to think he was a very difficult man, right? He just used to give us unimaginable tasks. So he gave us this vision, this task to go and craft our 5-year plan. And guess what? That was where my transformation really started. It was as if I was given the opportunity, indeed, to be the architect of my life. And I sat down, I remember somewhere in our department at the time, and I took my time to think about it. 5 years from now, really, what do I want my life to look like? I chose not to think about my class of degree. I chose not to think about my CGPA. I just chose to look at the future and what I wanted it to look like for me. It felt like I had a blank, what's it called? Blank board to draw my future as I wanted it. And there was no barriers to my thinking, or there were no barriers to my thinking. So I did say on that sheet that in 5 years, I would have become a human resources consultant, that in 5 years, I would be working with a multinational company, that in 5 years, I would have acquired more international human resources certification, that in 5 years, I should have gotten married and maybe have a child. Friends, I kid you not, okay? 2 years or less than 2 years after I wrote that, I had become an associate consultant with PricewaterhouseCoopers. Less than 3 years after I wrote that, I had become certified by the Society of Human Resources Management in the United States. Less than 3 years after, I had gotten married. Now, at the time I wrote that, I did not have a boyfriend. So it wasn't like we were planning to marry and I just foresaw. No. 5 years after that, I was married. I had 3 kids. And I was a consultant with PwC. And then it was at that time I became the group HR manager of an investment bank in Lagos. Now, what vision do you have for your life? I told myself that my results may be second class lower, but my life is going to be first class. And so that influenced every decision I took. That informed the kind of energy I bring to my work. That informed the kind of association I forge with people where I go and things I do. It doesn't mean that I haven't fallen in some areas. There are times I fall or fall short of even my own expectations of myself. Excuse me, but guess what? I pick up and I keep moving. The leaders I showed you on that previous slide, they are not perfect people. Let me tell you, are you aware that one of Nelson Mandela's kids was arrested for was a drug addict. He had some issues. Now, Martin Luther King, after a while, some people contended his doctoral degree, even after he had died, that there was some form of plagiarism. Now, I know when I started hearing plagiarism, but that as far back as 60s, some people went back to his history. Some people even claimed that he was seeing another woman. Now, I don't know. I don't care about all of those. But guess what? This man made a mark. Okay? Now, leadership has a place to do with character. But what I've realized is not everybody came up perfectly. We all have backgrounds and things we're dealing with. But when you have a vision of where you're going, even when you fall, you rise up. Leadership is not about being perfect. Leadership is about being authentic about your journey, owning your story and writing a story that will inspire others to live a life that is greater than them. Question is, what vision do you have for yourself? And so moving on from here, I mentioned something at the beginning, and it's a quote. It says, we prepare for war, for war in the time of peace. You don't wait for war to happen before you start preparing. Don't wait till you get to that place where your opinion is being asked before you have an opinion. You need to start preparing now for leadership. Maybe for some people, you're yet to get your first job. For some people, you're in management training. For some people, maybe you're still students and all that. Don't say, you know what, when I graduate, don't worry, I will keep the recording. That's when I will, put one or two things. No. Now is the time. There are things I wish I latched onto much earlier than I did. The best time to prepare for war is in the time of peace. Now, what are those things you can do to prepare yourself for leadership? The first thing you need to recognize is the place of relationships. You cannot see, if you are the only one in this world, we don't need leadership. Okay, maybe you can lead yourself, right? But it won't amount to anything. So you need to master the skill of building quality relationships. You know why? Because in the workplace, you'll be working with people. You will not only work with people, you're working for people. You're working for your customers. You're working for your regulators. You're working for your vendors or with your vendors. So there are relationships involved in that metrics. And your ability to make a difference will be a function of the quality of relationships you're able to build. Can you guys still hear me? I see Lara say I can't hear her. Please, if you can hear me, can you say yes? So I know whether it's mine, it's from mine. Okay, thank you so much, guys. So you need to learn the skill of building quality relationships. Thank you so much, guys. Building quality relationships is very good. Okay, so invest in relationships. How do you invest in relationships? You don't invest in relationships thinking of your own agenda first. First, find out how to serve people. How can I be of help to you? People find it strange when you even do that. Like, who helps people? Who comes with that? Because everybody is looking for what to get from everybody. But very few people look for how to give to people. I was having a conversation with my kids today, and I shared 3 stories with them. Maybe it will add to this, I don't know, but it just has to do with relationship with 2 people. And maybe I should just share it, not something long, very short. I don't know, maybe you've heard it before too. So there were 2 countries, who shared the border. And one country, for whatever reasons, I can't remember the details, would keep throwing trash or garbage into the other, Lara, maybe you want to restart, maybe leave and join, it will help. So they keep throwing trash. And it was getting very, very irritating and annoying. But the other country decided, you know what? You can only give what you have. So most likely their country is so full of garbage. That's why they have a lot to share. But you know what? We are not garbage full. So we are going to give what we have. So rather than retaliate with garbage and the trash, they will rather take from the abundance of their stores, their harvest, and share with others. And I told my kids, I said, you can only give what you have. Another scenario, there was a guy who shared, he was somebody else, somebody's neighbor, and He was a black man living in a Caucasian environment. And this white man would always throw his dog poop across the fence. And so rather than the black man responding, he would take the dog poop and use it to grow plants and flowers, especially roses. So on this particular day, he realized that he wasn't seeing dog poop again. And he's like, what exactly is going on? So he went around his fence to go and check on his neighbor that is always throwing shit at him. And he was surprised to see that this man was ill. And that was the only reason why he wasn't getting dog poop again. So he went in and the guy was like, no, why would you come? So he went to his house, plucked some flowers, some roses, and brought it to the man. And, of course, his face lit up like, why would you go to the store to do this? Why would you go and spend money to buy roses for me? And the guy said, no, I didn't have to spend a dime. And then he's like, where did you get it from? And then he said, I grew it from the shit you threw at me. So building relationships is about taking the higher level. It's about, going the extra mile and saying, what can I do to add value? The more you add value to people above you, people at your level, people coming right after you, the more you're able to influence them. John Maxwell would say, you can never ask for a hand until you have touched the heart. Okay, let me put it differently. You can't actually ask for a hand, but you're not going to get it. Okay? The reason why Fumi can possibly place a demand on me is because one way or the other, we are connected. So you need to build quality relationships before you can even have an impact on people. The next thing you need to build is not just relationship, but capacity. When you build relationship, after a while, the question is, what can you offer? What can you offer? People are looking for people who can add value to them. Equip yourself. It's not enough to know the vision of the organization. You must be equipped to be able to add value to that organization. You must be able to build capacity, get skills, get knowledge, whether technical skills, but don't get technical skills alone, get soft skills as well. You know why? The higher you go, the lower the demand on your technical skills. MDs don't write codes. They hire people to write codes. You know what MDs do? They sit in their offices, make calls, drink coffee, and they're striking deals. They are watching the news to see what decisions government is making that can affect them. But the coders and the programmers are down there making all the codes and doing all of those things. So build capacity, yeah? But don't just build technical skills, build soft skills, your ability to manage stakeholders, your ability to communicate. If there's anything that can, because it's one thing for you to have vision, it's another thing for you to say it. You cannot keep quiet and think you can influence people. Nobody influences from the back. At most, you can maybe influence one or two people, but you need to be a great communicator, because a vision not known is a vision not pursued. People will not pursue a vision they don't know, and there's no way they can know if nobody has told them about it. So get equipped so that you can strengthen the value you bring to the table. And lastly, have the right attitude. Attitude is everything. You can be skillful, you can have aptitude, but if you don't have attitude, it's going to really, really suck, okay? So attitude, I like to describe attitude as heartitude, like it's a function of the heart, okay? Because somebody said your attitude is a reflection of your heart. I don't need to ask you what you're thinking. All I need to do is to look at your attitude. Now, of course, I know some people are very mean. They can hide it, but you can't hide your attitude for long. One way or the other, you will give it away. You understand? There's one of the things, John Maxwell says in his 21 laws of leadership, the law of intuition. As a leader, you're able to pick things. You're able to read things, read in between the lines. People just think what he meant by, as leaders are readers. They think it's only books. No, you read body language. You read trends. You read all sorts of things. You read people. You read moods. So let your attitude be right. Let your motive be right. If the only reason why you want to give to people is so that you can get from them, your motives are wrong. But sometimes when you give selflessly, it comes back to you in the most unimaginable. There's a lady who I connected with a couple of years ago. She reached out to me. I just started my coaching then. She reached out to me, I just want to check a thing or two with you, da, 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 da. I spent time, I think we spent 1 hour just talking, just me listening to her. That was in 2017. She did not buy anything from me. I'm like, Dupe, you didn't close that sale. Oh my God. But then I moved on. Over the years, she still had my contact. Once in a while. She will reach out to Dupe, what do you think about XYZ? And sometime this year, she just came and said, Dupe, I've been following you for the past 3 years. I think I need to own up that I need help. I need to pay you to help me. And she did pay me good money, right? Now, imagine if at the first time, I'm like, this one, you just came and you didn't even buy a bag. Please don't come back, and then you move on, right? Now, it doesn't mean that if you now reach out to me now and say, please remember that there was somebody, he didn't pay you for 3 years. No, just kidding. I'm just trying to drive home, the right attitude. It starts with your heart. When your heart is right, your actions, align. And so looking at these guys again, what behaviors do you think, or can you pick from them? What are the key characteristics that you think stands them out? For Mandela, I would say it was sacrificial. What else? What else do you see about these guys? What behaviors? Doggedness, resilience. Thank you, Patty. What else do you see? What else, guys? Sacrificial. Thank you. Perseverance. Absolutely. Passion, selflessness. What else do you see? Passion. Awesome. Passion. Impact. Determination. Speaking up for others, bravery, focus, grit. I love that. Visionaries, boldness, persistence. You guys know, dream, tenacity, awesome, true motivation, commitment, courage, amazing, self-motivation, ready to sacrifice. Obama packaging, well done, okay? Love, grit from Obama, okay? Resilience. I see a lot of things. But you know what? All of these things you see from these people or in the lives of these people, how can you begin to emulate them? Which one resonates with you? Which one do you look at today sincerely and do you see lacking in your life? This may be the first place for you to start. Resilience. Resilience. How do you speak up in the face of death? Malala. A girl that was not even up to 15 years old. Nelson Mandela was in jail for 27 years for a vision he believed strongly in. It wasn't fun. There were times they negotiated with him to come out of prison and they would offer him a position, but he said no. What I want, I know what I want. The question is, do you know what you want? Or will you compromise on your vision? Now, these are things I just want to leave you with. When you think about leadership in the workplace, we're not thinking of a job title. We're talking about real impact. We're talking about perseverance. Excuse me. Your ability to make a difference, make an impact, turn things around, and all of that. Thank you so much, Faith. And so we've come to the end. But before we go, these are some things I want you to do for yourself. What behaviors from those things you've listed are you going to commit to start demonstrating from today? Whether it's on your job, whether it's in school, whether it's at home, or in the society you find yourself. What difference are you going to make? What little, sometimes, all Malala did was right. So sometimes you don't have to make it to, some TV station. You have a Facebook page. You have an Instagram page. You have some of those pages. What difference? You have a WhatsApp group you belong to. What behaviors are you going to, what problem are you going to start solving? What vision do you have in your heart that is burning for? Somebody said, a true leader is not someone who has a vision, but someone whose vision has him. When your vision possesses you, nothing can stop you, okay? So what behaviors are you going to commit to demonstrating today? I remember in my first job before NYSC. NYSC is a program, an internship program in Nigeria for the sake of people who don't know about it. I left school And I remember working on that first job, and my boss called me, said, Dupe, have you worked somewhere before? I said, yes. She said, where? I said, I served in my campus fellowship. Said, I knew you must have learned this somewhere. What did she see? Behaviors. What behaviors will people see in you and will make them think, you are valuable to them? And of course, based on the things you've learned today, what will you, oh my God, that's supposed to be begin, pardon me. What will you begin to do differently? Okay? These are questions I want you to reflect on and take action on. All right? So for more valuable content, please can feel free to follow me on LinkedIn. I've exceeded my connection limit actually, but you can follow me so that you can see the content I share from time to time. I use stories or use storytelling to bring, home my points, and that's what I love to do. Yes, on Instagram, I'm at Dupe Akinsiun. On Facebook, I'm at Dupe Akinsiun as well. So please, you can feel free to follow me on the social media platforms. And I have two things I also try to do monthly to add value to people. I'm a person of faith, all right? I have a prayer club. I believe that God makes all the difference. And so I have a prayer club. If you join me on Instagram, you will see the link in my bio, how to register for the prayer club. We have someone coming next week, Saturday, to talk to us about our relationship with God and how to use that to win in the workplace. And I also have a book club, okay? I'm not a dumb spiritual person. I believe in developing the mind, because the mind is the gap between the spirit and the physical, all right? Between the spiritual and the physical is the mind, okay? So I believe in developing the mind. And so I have a club. It's called the Read to Lead Club. So if you want to be a part of that as well, please feel free to register, and I'll be more than grateful to share with you, okay? So oh my God, yes, I'm going to I'm going to share the link with you. So do we have questions?
Thank you so much, Dupe. That was a very nice session. And I just want to emphasize what you said on having the right attitude and encourage it amongst our participants. It's always nice to have the right attitude to work. We have a bunch of questions there for you. Just read out some and then have participants also talk. So Fatima says, Ma, what do you do as a behavioral consultant? Does it mean you try to change people's behavior?
Okay, thank you so much for that. What I do basically as a consultant is I'm able to help you understand your behaviors, and then based on what you want to achieve, right? So I don't change you, okay? I'm not a people changer. I would say that I can influence you. So let me tell you, so there's a reason why people act the way they do, all right? I didn't know. In my first year on campus, I'm not sure Fumi can remember so many things about me in the first year, but I was quite an introverted person. I mean, people struggle to believe me that I was shy or that I was introverted, but I was introverted. I had very low self-esteem. I had, my parents were struggling, to sustain me in school or give me the kind of life I wanted. Not like the life I wanted. I mean, it was just being able to buy textbooks and all of those things. Once your school fees is paid, buying textbook was a luxury. I was a sad girl. I was a teenager. I was just trying to discover myself, but I was losing focus because there were so many things going on in my life at the same time. And so a senior friend who met me on campus then was gracious enough to give me a book titled, Why You Act the Way You Do. Man, that book was my game changer, of course, with my relationship with God. But before then, I had a relationship with God. I couldn't make sense of it, right? But in that book, I realized that people act in a certain way because of certain reasons, either their background, their exposure, and a lot of things. And guess what? Your behaviors can be a limiting factor on your leadership. Some people go to meetings and this attitude of, we have courage. We have boldness. You now go for meetings. You now go and speak your mind. You don't understand there's diplomacy in the workplace. My people, you would have gotten home because they would have fired you before you know that you're fighting for the cause of people. So all of these things And guess what? There are some behaviors or there are some personality types that have a tendency to have that boldness naturally. So so as a DISC consultant, the DISC is dominance. So I help you understand your personality through an assessment, and then we identify your strengths and your weaknesses. So we are able to help you, identify your growth opportunities so you can fix those in order to become valuable to your team, more valuable. It doesn't mean you're not valuable at the time, but you can be more valuable. Just sharpen those rough edges. So that's pretty much, what behavioral consulting is about. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dupe.
Right.
Someone else is asking, Oluwatosin Jinodu.
Right.
Good evening, Ma. Thank you very much for this session. I just want to ask on how you can build relationships in case of a career switch. In case of a career switch as an undergraduate, I understand the importance of LinkedIn connections, but how can I prove that I am adding value, most especially where I am switching careers?
So let me tell you, the first thing, if you're switching careers, for you to be switching careers, I'm assuming in my head, most likely you don't even have an experience in that area. One of the things, I try to do is to recommend to people, go and find someone in the field and serve them. That is how you can add value. You can add value with your time, not necessarily with your skills. Okay? When people see you, so let me tell you, so let's say I'm in HR, and I totally understand about that LinkedIn connections. That you have somebody in your LinkedIn connection does not mean they're adding value to you or you're adding value to them. Is for you to identify the industry you want to switch to or the profession you want to switch to, and being able to ask yourself, who are the people I kind of resonate with? Maybe you look at their profile, you look at their content, you can go and check them on all social media platforms just to have an idea. Because it's not everybody that is successful that wants to give back. Do you understand? Not everybody has time for, let me mentor you. Not everybody has time. So just do your due diligence and check them. Check for people in your field. Don't go and ask them, you're an accountant, you're asking an HR person to mentor you or an engineer to mentor you. It will not work or it will not be effective. Okay? So you need to go in there and find people that can be useful to you and ask yourself, how can I serve them first? So it's you reaching out to them. Maybe they post content, like it, make valuable contributions. When people send me messages on LinkedIn asking for requests, and I don't even see how you engage with my content. I don't see you have bought any of my trainings or anything. I put a training or I have an event. You're not even a part of it. And then I should spend my time with you. No, I don't prioritize such people, sincerely speaking. So there are people that, okay, so let me give you an instance. I had a conference in Ghana. I had people who volunteered in Nigeria for the edition of our program, and some people paid their way to go and serve and volunteer with me in Ghana. Now, if I'm to prioritize, do you think I will not put those guys ahead of anybody? Of course, I'm committed to them. I'm committed to people who serve my cause. So if you send me a mail, I don't know you, you're telling me, ma, please find my CV, help me take a look at it. I'm not even going to respond to you, sincerely speaking, because I have 24 hours like you do, that I have to serve several agenda on my own plate. It's not going to happen. So the first place you need to start, let me tell you, I'm doing this video from the room of my mentor. I'm not in my house as I speak. Okay? I'm broadcasting live from my mentor's room. The bedroom. Of course, his family is around. They are somewhere here. They are in the, but that is how much access I've gained, because over the years I have served. I'm no longer a protege. I've become family. Look for people whose hands you can pour water on, whose agenda you can serve in that field. Don't go and serve. I won't go and serve Ali Baba. I love him. I respect him. I love what he's doing with comedy, but he's not sent to me. Find the people that are sent to you and serve them. Annie is a prophetess, so Annie has seen something in me. Oh my God. Oh my God. Let's see if you can really see something in me, Annie, okay? Have you played Catch Me? Let's watch how you catch me. Yeah, just kidding. Thank you so much. I feel honored and I'm happy to serve you. Okay, so I see Lara is asking about mentorship program. It's a bit tricky. Okay, let me get back to you on this. I'm about to launch a group mentoring in July, and I will be happy to share with Fumi so that anyone interested can join the family, okay?
Thank you so much, Dupe. Thank you so much for an amazing session.
Guys, for having me.
Thank you. Fumi, Lola, would you like to add anything?
Yes. Thank you so much, Dupe. This is just like this is the best session we could have had to wrap up this event. Like, it's so on point. Every single thing you said is, in fact, I really, really love how you concluded this, just talking about the need to serve. And I'll just like to begin on that to just thank every single volunteer on this program. And I mean, you said something very, very important. There is no way all the guys that I've worked to put this, I will prioritize them over anybody, anytime. Like, if Tolu calls me 12 midnight, I am going to pick up my call. Do you understand? Because these are guys that have all served. They are all students. They have committed. I mean, I was telling the lead, Taye, that, you know what, just get me everybody's CV. Whatever it takes, I'm going to make sure that you guys start off on a solid level. That is what Dupe is saying. You cannot expect favors from people just because, well, my name is, I'm blessed and favored of God. I mean, I must say you're not, but the truth is that there's a place for service because it triggers something in the other person that makes the person committed to supporting you and to helping you become, way better than you have been. Thank you so much, Dupe. I am so excited that we had you here. I love that we even put you in this session because it just wraps everything together very well. Thank you so much, Dupe. Thank you. Please follow Dupe. Oh, please, if you say, even me, I absorb and I soak our content every time. So please follow on social media. I think our links are there. They've been posted. And believe me, you want to join our book club. For those of us that read, we know what it means. Like, that is even your gateway to the world, to be a reader. So if you're struggling with reading, you can't just get around those things by yourself. Joining a book club really, really helps. So please do indulge us and please help us send it to all attendees, the links, so that people can join those book clubs. And then we'll also send it out as well. They will also be posted on our social media links so that people can also go there and check it. Thank you so much, Dupe. Thank you. So this brings us to the end of this conference. It has been amazing. I've had so much fun since yesterday. It's been really, really good, from Deeper session to Ola Diamonds to all the mentors yesterday. And then today with Bankole Williams, with Precious, and now with Dupe. And your lives, everybody's lives should have been, transformed, I'm sure. And so we'd like to say a very, very big thank you.
So sorry, Tintero. Can I quickly rush out now? I just need to be somewhere.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dupe. It was really great having you. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much, Dupe. Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. So this brings us to the end, and I really want to appreciate everybody that stayed all through. I'm sure it's been worth your time. Thank you very much. We're going to be posting a lot of things on our social media handles. Please follow for what happens immediately after this event. If you've not joined the Slack community, please do, so that you can actually connect with the mentors. Okay, so please join the Slack group, and then we'll be able to connect you with all of the mentors that came. Thank you very much, and I'll leave it to Tolu to wrap up the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fumilola. So guys, we're done with the conference, but please follow us on all our social media handles and also join the Slack community, because more information is going to be passed across on the Slack group. YouTube channel, everything will be communicated to everyone. I'll send emails out to all registered participants. Thank you guys. It was so much fun having this conference with you guys, and I'm so glad everyone learned at least one thing. I just hope you are leaving this place with one thing. In fact, if not everything that was said, but just to remind you about what Bankole said, he talked about EPIC. He said, expose yourself, pay attention to your passion. Intern, it is very, very important. Intern. And he also said, contribute to the digital economy. Please, please pay attention to everything that was talked about today. Okay. Yes, I'll send the link again. Thank you guys so much. Bye. We'll continue communication on the Slack community. Bye, guys.